my podcast co-host. He kept me late. Blame him. He scheduled he scheduled a podcast today right before this, and we went over a couple of minutes, but it was fun. So keep an eye out for that podcast. I'm also a little out of sorts today, so I don't have any of my windows up. I didn't have any prep time because of the closeness there with the podcast, but that's okay. We'll get going. Um, what do we have going on? What is new today? So, looks like we are going to be doing some more purple teaming. Hopefully, folks are pretty excited about that. Maybe we'll even think about, depending on who's in the audience today, maybe we'll think about improving our lab space to add additional telemetry or maybe even some new tools and look at some of that. I mean, kind of the world is our oyster as a purple team. So lots of cool stuff we can do there. Thanks for joining. If you're joining just now, again, sorry for being late. I'm late to my own wedding, to my own party here. Sad face. Look, AJ's here. Um, so blame him again. Blame AJ. There are no lies. It's his fault. He did it. He did it. Speaking of purple team, look at this guy. He's here. I don't know if he's going to hop on here at all today. He can. He has the link. He can always hop in. Um, but yeah, we're going to do some attacking, some defending. He said he was jealous last time when I told him I was doing purple teaming and setting up labs. He was like, "Why wasn't I invited?" It's because he always has stuff to do. He's a busy man, so he wasn't invited. But maybe he'll hop on and talk about some stuff. AJ, hit me up if you want to hop on camera and hang out with us cool people on the stream today. Um, and we can show them a thing or two. But what else has been going on? We we were going to do an interview today. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't heard from the gentleman, so I don't think so. Let me do a check. Let's see if I got an email or anything. Nope, I don't think so. So that's okay. Um, we'll get someone in here and do a mock interview sometime. And so some folks can see what it's like, see kind of the pressure cooker that you'll be in if you haven't done a technical interview. I know a lot of folks are in that position where you have been putting out resume after resume after resume, and it's going to be the worst interview you've ever had in your life, AJ, but let's do it. I'm going to ask you all these technical questions, and it's going to be great. We're going to give you a forensic analyst interview. How about that? But yeah, we're going to do some cool stuff. And I wonder, because AJ hasn't seen the lab setup. Let's see what he thinks about the lab setup. Are you going to hang in here the whole time, AJ? Or are you going to you're just popping in here for a little bit? I can send you a link, by the way. I think your old link should work if you want to pop in here. If you do, I'll put the headset on. But yeah, lots of cool stuff going on. So if you are watching this, you're not a subscriber, you're not following, make sure you do that. There's always going to be some great content that I am putting out. I'm doing a really good job, I think, and I'll keep getting better at the social media thing, but cutting out those nice nuggets of information that are going to help people get better at what they do, get better at cybersecurity space and all these things. Let me send AJ a link. It'll be fun to get him on here because he never hops on because he's a punk. So let me see if I can shoot it over to him. And we'll get him to pop in here. Just give me a second. While I'm doing this, how about hop if you're in chat? I saw someone pop in here and said, hey, if you're in chat, shoot me a message. What would you like to learn today? Why did you come and check me out? Why did you come hang out with me today? And let me know. And we can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that stuff maybe. Be a good time. All right, AJ, just sent you an invite to your email. Go check it out. And let's see if you can pop in here. I'll go ahead and get my headset ready as well. Hopefully. I think I can change it. Maybe not. I don't know if I can change it. Sad face. We'll see. If he pops in here, I'll try the headset on. But yeah, so let me know in chat what you came here for. Hey, Alpha, nice to see you. I'm glad you're learning a lot. What's the coolest thing you've learned from me, if there's anything cool, or what's the most interesting? I might not be teaching anything cool yet. We'll get to the cool stuff, but is there anything interesting or anything new that's just like, I didn't know. This is cool. I'll keep that. I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, so this is kind of a community. It is what you make it. So folks like Alpha, if there is something that you're struggling with on your journey as you're growing, put it in the comments, put it in the Discord, put it in the spaces, and we'll make sure to help you do just that, help you grow. And AJ says he's going to pop in here in a little bit after he feeds the dogs. But yeah, put it in here. The best way I can help you is to let me know what you need, and we'll make sure to do that. And I'm also buying time for AJ to pop in here. Yeah, so, and that's kind of why we're doing a lot of the purple team. I think there is a big disconnect between what, if we just focus on the blue team side, right? We're sitting there trying to play interpret all these logs, but we've never actually seen the attack itself and how it works. And that creates a little bit of a disconnect, and it makes it very difficult for us to kind of bring those two pieces together and help us when we're trying to tell that story, tell that narrative. It's difficult to do, but once we know both sides, we can really paint that picture and clearly describe what it is that's occurring, even though we're only seeing bits and pieces in the logs. So that's part of growing and getting better at what we do in cybersecurity, whatever your specialty is, whether it's offensive security or defensive security. At some point, you're going to have to learn both anyway. So we all have a little bit of purple in us, I think. All right, I'm gonna keep talking while I get spun up over here on the side, get my VM going so that we can do some stuff. And so for those of you hanging out, have you set up a lab yet? Do you have a lab that you're working in and practicing? And if so, what is it? Let me know what you're using as a lab. Is it a custom lab that you're designing with a Windows and Linux box, or are you using some of those online labs like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box? There's no wrong answer. I'm just curious, what are folks actually using? While I unprofessionally respond back to AJ while I'm streaming. Very, very cool stuff. Welcome if you're just joining. I see quite a few people are rolling in. Again, I'm sorry I'm late. As an apology, AJ is going to hop on and chat some too. Not as an apology, but he did keep me late. He scheduled a podcast recording session right before this. It'll be a good one though. It's about the health, cybersecurity health. So I won't spoil too much. You'll have to watch and see, but it's a really, really good one. We actually have 3 that have now been recorded that we have ready on our release schedule. So we are getting more professional as podcast hosts because we're actually having a long time frame of materials and rolling them out, even though we had like a 3-week break. Hey, we have day jobs. We can't be perfect. AJ can be perfect, not me. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen while we hang out and wait for Mr. AJ, and we will dive in. Again, if you're just joining, make sure if you're getting something good out of these sessions, please make sure to do the like, share, subscribe thing so other people can find it and other people can be helped out as well. More people that know, the more people can ask questions, and it just becomes a community thing. I definitely want to make this a community thing because, well, it is a village and all of those things. Look at that. AJ is on. Holy smokes. Say something, Mr. AJ.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, he's here. Look at that. The co-host himself. So I don't know if you heard, but I completely blamed you for being late today.
I did. I expect nothing less from you, honestly.
Yeah, so if you don't know, this is an old partner in crime at work. We did some purple teaming together. He does a lot of stuff in detection. So if you're in the crowd today and you're curious about being a detection engineer, this guy knows a little bit about that, but he's done a lot in cybersecurity. He's done some chaos, some purple, some blue team, some all kind of stuff. So definitely feel free to hit him up in the comments. Can you see the comments on your side?
I can if I open up YouTube.
Well, I'll ask questions. There should be a chat in Riverside for you. If not, I can ask them because I have a kind of a universal chat. So we have people on Twitch watching, we have people on YouTube, we have people on LinkedIn watching. So I'm getting all of that feed except LinkedIn. I don't see the LinkedIn comments, so hopefully no one's commenting on LinkedIn if you're watching. Um, but anyways, hit him up with those questions. Pretty cool guy. Let's see. So while you were getting straight with the pups, I asked folks, what are they using for labs these days? Are they using an external lab? Are they setting up the lab themselves? Alpha's in chat right now. Says right now he completed his master's, I think, and he made it automate detection with SOC server, log monitoring, detection rules, attack simulation, automation report template made for a small to medium scale company. Wow, he put some stuff in there. Holy smokes, he's doing some really cool stuff. And it falls into the blue team, by the way. So it sounds like he's doing some really cool stuff. What do you think about that type of setup that someone's done on their own?
Yeah, I mean, without having seen it, it sounds awesome. I wish more people would do stuff like this, right? Because I know what I'm not good at. So I'm good at like hunting and finding issues. Mike is really great at writing malware and stuff, and I think that's why we had a really good partnership when it came to purple team exercises that we ran. So seeing all of that is awesome, and hopefully you learn something, especially from like running the attacks and then looking for the attacks, writing detections, trying to find all of the various ways that you could detect things. That's awesome. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about some of the stuff we did, yeah, I mean, AJ is insanely good at finding stuff. I left the hunt part off of your background, but AJ is a sleuth. He's a bloodhound for finding problems, like legitimately. And yeah, I mean, it works so good. We found quite a bit of unique things together. And what I would do, I would build a lot of the attacks and we would collaborate on that, but he would really dive in and investigate them and try to follow them in the logs and we'd collaborate on that. And we would find quite a bit of interesting things within the tools, the security stack we were looking in. And it was a good time. I mean, I had fun. I learned a lot. I don't know if you learned a lot. He knows
Yeah.
everything. He probably didn't learn anything, but it was a good time. um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
you love to trash my code. So it. I definitely learned. I can't say I retained a lot, but I learned.
So actually, that's a good point. So a lot of people think you have to be a crazy good developer to get into cybersecurity. This guy is evidence. You can be trash and be in a high level position in a great company. So, just putting it out there, he has AI, AI was made for him. He has just you want that hockey stick curve in business. That's him in a cybersecurity skill, that hockey stick.
Valid.
But yeah, I mean, legit though, it is a game changer. But I believe it or not, I don't know. Have you ever heard that from folks where they're like, "Oh, how much coding do I need to do?" Have you heard that before?
Yeah, and I, short answer is yes. There are many things where you do not need to know how to develop or write code. It's obviously going to be helpful, but for instance, there's an entire wing of GRC or governance and compliance, right? And you do not need to be that technical to be in that field to identify and address risks, nor do you need to be able to write malware to be a CSOC analyst. Will it improve your skills? Absolutely. Is it required? No.
Nope. You just have to. I'm playing with the format while I'm like, I don't like this one. And it's like, I can only select one. I'm trying to play with options here, but you know, it is absolutely correct. Maybe this one's better. No, it's the same. Um, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely like generally just having an idea of how it works, how the code flows, and all that stuff is typically good enough. You don't have to be this elite programmer. You just don't have to. It doesn't make sense. So don't feel that not only do you have to learn cybersecurity, but you need to be an expert in dev. That's not the case. So rest easy on that one. Looks like we have a comment with 0-day attacks reduce using AR. I don't know what you mean there, Alpha. I think that's a partial thing.
I get what he's saying, or at least I think. So to me, I read this as whether or not 0-day attacks will decrease or increase through the use of AI. And I would say that they would increase. I follow a guy on LinkedIn who specifically runs bug bounty programs for companies that pay bounties. So think of like HackerOne formats. And he has written a platform in, I'm presuming Claude Code. I haven't asked him directly, but he feeds it the like URL of the application, and it goes through and probably is running some burp scripts or whatever it might be. He has found 10 bounties through the use of his own tool. And some of those bounties are paying, I think the last one he had was $5,000. So I mean it can be significant, right? And of course you have the double-edged sword of AI where a lot of things are going to be coded poorly, and so you're going to introduce a lot of vulnerabilities there as well. Mike, what are you thinking?
That's. I was going to say it's my biggest fear, but it's almost like one of the things I look forward to the most as a hacker. That there are going to be a lot of really poorly designed things. So it's the issue with AI is that it's absorbing all of these bad code practices out in GitHub, all these bad comments in these dev forums and whatnot. Stack Overflow, right? If you hadn't heard of that, that's a big one, and they're being implemented in the code. And I was actually at the Citadel this week doing a career fair and talking with folks, and they were asking questions like this, is AI going to replace us? How secure does the job market look? And I will tell you, if you suck at your job, AI is not going to make you that much better. It's going to augment people. It's going to make good people better. And what was it? It was our 2 podcasts ago. Someone said something. It's going to make good people better and bad people worse, or something like that. What was it?
It was specific to CTI or cyber threat intelligence. He said it'll make good CTI better. It'll make bad CTI non-existent.
There you go. So it'll replace you if you suck at your job. So we highly encourage you to become really good at your job, which is just put some effort, learn some stuff, do some labs, do some playtime. But yeah, like it's there. AI is there to augment our capabilities, help us focus on specific tasks that need the most attention, right? Some of the stuff like formatting reports and all that sucks. It eats up a lot of time for pen testing. But in and it really does. Like I think I spent this week I created probably about 200 pages of technical documentation by myself. That's a lot. Without AI, without automation, because it was a blend of me, AI, automation, I wouldn't have been able to do that in 2 weeks or within a week. I think it was total of 3 days of writing the report. It's impossible. But with those tools, it helped me do what I need to do so I could focus on the value, which was all the attacks, identifying the risks and stuff for business holders. So just want to point that out. Don't think about it as a crutch. Don't think about it as a tool that's going to replace you. Think about it as a tool that's going to make you help you improve what you do. You just need to focus on the things and your expertise. I almost sounded like I was going to say it in Spanish. Expertise. Your expertise is going to help you guide that AI in the right directions of where it needs to go. Because I don't know about you, you probably spend a lot of time correcting and fine tuning your prompts to get output right. I imagine, right?
Yeah, I've started to use planning more because Mike knows me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a very much kind of like just go with the flow type of person, which doesn't work too well when it comes to AI. But I have started, you know, using planning more to kind of refine. I have it ask me questions to make sure that it is understanding what is being said and also that I'm understanding what I'm wanting, rather than just what I'm asking for. So it's definitely gotten better. I can tell you I have restarted my own projects a few times previously compared to, just it doing exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, he's created a lot of AI slop as well. So
Glad to join, guys.
welcome. If you're just joining us, make sure to comment down below what types of labs and things you've been working on. We're here joking around. This is my co-host AJ, who is a beast, but I always give him a hard time. He's a good sport about it. But yeah, if you haven't done that, like, share, subscribe thing, make sure you do that and get involved, ask questions. We're here to help. People like him, people like me who've been in the community for a while. We just want to help you folks, but you got to tell us what you need. Cool. Um, so here's a good question for you. So the last few weeks, I've told you this kind of on the side, we've been working on building out a lab. What would you suggest people include in their lab if they're just getting started? They want to build a playground for them to work in. What would you suggest they set up?
Yeah, so I'm a fan of free. So starting, if we're looking at like incident response or SOC or whatever, right, related to logs, I'm gonna want to use Elastic. You can use the free version of Splunk. I prefer Elastic because I've been out of Splunk for so long. Choose whichever. You can get both for free. Secondly, Windows, obviously. If you want to get fancy, toss in like an Ubuntu box or whatever you want. Red Hat, Linux, whatever, right? And then I think for like monitoring and stuff, Sysmon is going to be great. I think you need Sysmon if you're looking at Windows. Windows and Linux just aren't going to give you enough. You can hook it to like the Logbeat, I believe is what it's called in Elastic. So that's a pretty easy like connection point there. And then you really just need something to generate attacks for you. So like Alpha Radar was saying in the chat or whatever, you can vibe code some of these things, or you can just install Python on your box, have a VM, and then ask your favorite LLM, hey, generate an attack that does X, and then generate a detection that detects X. And then you can add both, and you can kind of sit there and choose your own adventure to go through. When it comes to building a lab, full disclosure, I am not a fan of personal labs if I have to set it up. So that's where I'm thinking, you can use like the security onion or whatever else you want to use. Maybe you want to use Velociraptor. I believe that's also free for like some incident response capabilities. But that's kind of where I go off the top.
Yeah, good point there. So I definitely encourage you to understand. So have these conversations. I can't remember who it was I was speaking with. They were using AI to help them interview. So ChatGPT having it act like an interviewer, answering the questions and whatnot. And if you do that for everything, if you get something wrong or you don't have a good answer, have it explain this stuff to you. My cousin's been doing that as well, where she's like, explain it to me like I'm a 3 year old or whatever, and
Mm.
super like plain. And she said it has been a game changer for her because she hadn't been using it, right? She was still in the mindset. She had just gotten cybersecurity, right? I think I told you about her. And I think last year was her first class, and she's like, I'm struggling. It was a dev course. I think it was Python she was coding in. She's like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. I don't understand it. I don't get it. She was struggling in another class. I was like, have you considered using ChatGPT to help you yet? She goes, no. Can I do that in class? I was like, yeah, that is the thing. That's the new thing. It's like having a personal tutor. It is right most of the time. It's not right all the time, but it has been a game changer. She actually had, because she used to reach out almost every day about work, and I talk to her like maybe once every few weeks now. So it must be doing a really good job. So if you're not using ChatGPT to help you study, help you understand topics, use it. I had someone tell me, oh, it was at the Citadel Career Fair. They introduced me to one of the professors, like one of the professors had walked up. They were like, this guy, I get into his class, and one of the first things the professor said was, if you don't have a subscription to ChatGPT or one of those, you're going to need it for this class. And they were like, oh my God, this class must be hard if he's telling us to use AI before we even get in there. But I was like, oh, it's cool to see the professor embracing AI. A lot of people are scared that it's, kind of ruining the educational experience. And I think we've had a conversation where like all it is kind of AI versus AI. The students are building stuff with AI. The teachers grading and creating it, work and assignments with AI, and it's just AI everywhere. Even applying for a job, you're using it to help you with your resume. The recruiter's utilizing it to go through all the resumes. It's a hot mess, but it can be pretty useful, I think. Excuse me. Excuse me. What do you say we dive into some labs and stuff? What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I'll share my screen again. So what I have, and we can kind of take this whatever direction you want. I have Elastic set up. I have a Windows system as well. And I also have Kali up. So we can run some stuff in Kali and hit the box. And we can do classic, Mike and AJ purple teaming if we want. And yeah, what would you say? I got hiccups. I've been drinking adult juice tonight. Uh, what would you say is a good thing if people are just starting out and they've never seen a sim before, but they want to understand what attacks look like? What's something that you think would be a good demonstration for those folks? I know it's kind of putting you on the spot. You're like, I don't know.
Like just to kind of highlight how an attack would flow or what?
Could be any. I think maybe just a good demonstration for them to see an attack for the first time. What would be a good example?
So most attacks are going to follow the same path, right? And if there's this thing called MITRE attack, which is the de facto standard, whether or not I hate it,
He
to
hates it.
show the flow. So most things are you're going to land on a box. And Mike is a pen tester, right? So he can give you more details. You're going to land on a box. You're going to enumerate. You're going to look for, or you're going to establish persistence. You're going to look for ways to elevate your permissions, and then you're going to move towards your objective, which might be crown jewels. So like if you're hacking Coca-Cola, you want the recipe, right? If you're hacking a company that has a bunch of money and you're dropping ransomware, like you want to get admin so you can drop on more boxes. So I think something that will demonstrate that. So it could be as simple as like a pup being downloaded and it's a RMM tool or remote monitoring and management tool. And then like having the connection come back in to the host or whatever. Think of what you do in pen test. I think that'd be a really good thing to demonstrate because you do this regularly in multiple networks and it's always the same thing or like at the high level, right?
Ping 8.8.8. That's Google's IP address, in case you're wondering. Well, I do that to make sure I have outbound the ability to get outbound. Yeah, I mean, so talk about some of the stuff we've done. So the last time I kicked off an interpreter shell and showed what that looked like on both sides. We did a PowerShell. Ooh, all the stuff's popping up now. We did a PowerShell download cradle, and I did it both encrypted and just plain, because I wanted to show the power of PowerShell logs 4104s, because we also have those in here, where it
Okay.
automatically decrypts it or decodes it, not decrypt, decodes base64 if it's done those things. So we have done quite a few. So it's a good time. I'm trying to think with some other fun stuff. There's all kind of stuff we could do, really. And I was debating whether or not I wanted to put Velociraptor on here today to show some of that. But yeah, there's lots of really, really cool stuff. I'm trying to think, what is the last thing? So AJ's right. So typically an attacker does follow stuff. And what I highly suggest, and AJ may suggest something slightly different or could provide some input here, is to think whenever you're doing an investigation, right? Think through the eyes of an attacker. What are they doing? What's going through their mind? And that's going to help you understand where they're at in the attack chain. And that's going to help you know where to look. So let's pop quiz here. We're going to see how good you are at your job. If we saw in if config in the logs, where would an attacker be in an attack chain?
I would say enumeration or discovery.
Right. And why would you say that?
Sorry, I'm texting. I would say that because they are already in the network, right? So they're running ipconfig or ifconfig to identify their IP address and kind of start to understand the network that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so discovery, right? They're trying to understand what's going on in the system before they start making moves. What if you saw a command that said net user whatever slash add? So they're adding a user to the system. What phase would you think they were in?
They're starting to establish persistence. And I
That's
say
right.
starting because, it could go wrong. They might not have the correct like RDP permissions or whatever, but they're starting persistence.
Right. And they're doing that because what types of access would you say they've already done privilege escalation if it was a successful command or they hadn't got there yet?
No, it depends on the network, right? Because some locations you can just make users being a low priv user. But for instance, if you land in a shell that may not be like a full shell, maybe you want to RDP in so that you have like a full GUI that you can access or run more commands in and not run ls and break the entire thing like Mike did. It makes it a little bit easier for you. And it blends in, right? Because it looks legitimate.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So those are kind of, I just want to start getting folks in the mindset of thinking through when we see something, where are they at? Because if you said, okay, they're net user, and he's right? They could be just a local privileged user, which is one thing, right? If we end up as a local admin, we still need to progress to a global admin or a domain admin or something like that. And it's going to help you. Hey, fitness, welcome back. It's going to help you decide where to take your investigation. So if we saw something, so adding a new local user, AJ, what types of things would you expect the attacker to start doing next?
Yeah, if they're adding a user, I would expect like an RDP session, depending on the level of permissions. If they're able to add it as a local admin, maybe they're going to elevate to that account for some reason, I guess to kind of avoid what might be monitoring the regular user account. But after that, they're typically going to be looking to perform lateral movement.
And what types of things would you see for lateral movement? What types of commands or X binaries would they be utilizing?
Yeah, so I saw earlier you had PSXX, so that's a great one. Typically used as a remote admin tool, right? It's very old sysinternals tool, so it is signed by Microsoft. PS is PowerShell. Exec is, to execute it. But so you've got PSExec, you've got WMIC. You can like look for open shares and stuff as well. But I would say typically it's going to be RDP, PSExec, or if they're able to, for some reason, gain access to whatever monitoring tool there is. So most enterprises are going to have some type of remote management tool, right? Whether that is through RDP or through a third-party provider. If they get access to that, it's game over typically because it's going to be all over the domain.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. WinRM is another good one there as well. Because that's so it can be used normally, but if you're remoting with PowerShell, that's what service it's utilizing too. In case you didn't know, if you're doing remote PowerShelling, it's WinRM. Fitness in chat says they just got interested in stress testing guardrails on AI tools. What do you think about that? Because you like screwing around with AI and trying to get it to do stuff.
Yeah, guardrails are interesting, especially depending on the model, right? Because as the models progress, the guardrails get progressively more annoying. So, a little context here. One, I vibe code my own products, but two, I run testing where I work. So I am testing the various LLM models and embedded IDEs and whatever else it might be. Specifically looking to see what people can abuse them for. So if you jump from Anthropic's Sonnet 4.5 to Opus, it is a big difference in the guardrails, and it is extremely annoying because even if it is a legitimate ask, Opus will tend to decline the ask, saying, no, that's silly. That's like bad security. I'm not going to do that. Whereas in Sonnet and obviously earlier models, you're able to coerce it to do more for you. So, like I replied in the chat, but if you're one of the easiest ways to start to identify the guardrails is to ask for the system prompt, right? But if you ask for the system prompt, typically there's a guardrail designed around that. And so what you can do, windsurf, ChatGPT, whatever it might be, typically, is ask it what its first instruction is. And if it says like this is our first message, I don't have that, ask it again. And what you're asking for is the first sentence in its system prompt. And then you can ask for sequential sentences or sequential rules, or just say, great, now give me all of it so I better understand how to communicate with you. All of these LLMs are designed to assist the user, right? With that in mind, they tend to have guardrails in the sense of do not, perform illicit, illegal, dangerous activities, yada, yada, yada. But those are all going to be specified in the system prompt, or mostly in the system prompt. The internal guardrails are more difficult to identify. So again, going from Sonnet 4.5 to Opus, that's not going to be in the system prompt, but at least the system prompt will typically show you what you can use. So, for instance, if you're at an enterprise and it's like, hey, I am authorized to help with these things. So if you ask for something and you get blocked, you say, oh, well, actually, this is related to these things that you said are authorized. And by doing that, you're coercing the LLM to give you what you're asking for that it initially blocked. So that was a long-winded answer. But that is something that I like to nerd out about.
Yeah, he is a super AI nerd. So fitness, if you have any more questions, he's more of an AI nerd than I am. So good person for it. Also you know, I think this is becoming a theme on the stream. Are you door dashing tonight? Where in the world is fitness tonight? So fitness is one of the guys. He was just like doing door dashing the other night and was just listening to the stream while he's just cruising around town. So
Hell
it's
yeah.
pretty interesting. Yeah, I was like, man, what a dude. He's getting after it, working hard, hustling. That's some good stuff. Real good stuff. So if you're seeing me doing some dumb stuff in the background here, I'm trying to get our lab stuff to start working again. Last time I just restarted the services and everything worked. I need to go in and turn these into actual services. Right now I'm just running the
Yeah.
bat files to start them up, and it's sometimes also just reference for folks if there are certain things on, you have to restart it. If you wind down the VM and then turn it back on, it'll break stuff. Same with like VPNs. So if you've ever had like try hack me or hack the box, you had the VPN on, you pause the VM, came back, the VPN probably doesn't work anymore. You got to restart it. So I'm guessing the same things here. I wish I had a real cool technical answer as to why that happens. I don't, because I haven't cared enough to look at it, but I'm sure someone knows somewhere. Welcome if you're just joining us again. Feel free to drop some questions. What's something cool that you've learned this week? What's something you want to know? We got AJ here, all kinds of background. 8 o'clock, I'll tell you his background again. But he's cool. He's a cool guy. Just know that. Well, I've been trying to I've been learning how to do the streaming stuff better. And part was like, oh, you need to make sure you continue to reiterate stuff throughout drop
Yeah, yeah.
it throughout the stream. I was like, okay, I'll try to get better about it. So that's in that effort there.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I'm trying to fix my elastic on my other screen as well. So I'm doing mine through Claude while you're doing yours manually.
Yeah. Set
Um,
face.
Something that, to be honest, this is gonna reflect poorly on me. Um,
Won't be the first thing.
yeah, I know. I installed this thing called PM. I don't know what it stands for. Um, but I use it to make my Telegram bot a service.
PM,
It's
like project manager.
Process Manager 2, apparently. Open source production process manager for Node.js. Awesome. So that's what it is. Um, so I recently I connected my Claude Code to my Telegram through a bot so that I can nerd out and use Claude Code on my phone while I'm at the gym, or I'm going to leave this week, and I'll be able to interact with my PC through the use of Telegram. And so I set it as a service, and it automatically restarts, or I configure it to restart. I don't know, so that it is persistent. I think it's pretty cool.
That's kind of scary. You're interacting with your system while you're away via Telegram. That's kind of scary, dude.
So it's scary, except when I told it to only allow communications from my user ID.
I
So there's
wonder.
a bot, there's a Telegram bot. I'm the only person that it'll accept commands from. And then those, when it hits the bot, it'll transfer those to Claude Code through the CLI and then take the response and interpret it back. So it's essentially as secure as my Telegram account.
Mm, questionable, folks. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. What do you think? How questionable is AJ's setup? Yeah,
If
blast them,
someone,
everyone. Blast them.
yeah, if someone dumps my tokens, I'm gonna be pissed.
Dude, it's so sketch. It's so sketch. We have different thresholds for risk in different areas. Um, so let's play around with some Metasploit. How familiar are, well, not Metasploit, Kali. When was the last time you hopped in Kali, AJ?
When we won first place at the CTF in Simply CyberCon.
Thanks, Arjun.
By the way, by the way, I won't mention his name, but I messaged him because what we won was supposed to be this week, and he never replied to me.
Oh, well. Hit up Sierra if you have her information.
I
She'll
don't.
she'll hook you up. I'll sometimes she pops in here actually. So about once a month she'll pop in here, but she is in the Discord channel. So if you look her up, she's a member of the Discord channel. You should be able to hit her or DM her. She'll know what's going
Okay.
on. Yep. Man, I'm here solving problems this evening. All right, it's great. Let's see what else we can do. So some fun stuff. If we're just talking about things we would do as an attacker, one of the fun things that you typically have to do and figure out at some point, when you're like, I want to get into the pen testing, the offensive security world. You get to the point where, how do I get my tools on the system? Right? This is a big thing. AJ, here's a pop quiz for you. What types of file transfer mechanisms do you see as the most common or that you would use as an attacker if you were playing a bad guy today?
Probably S&B.
You like S&B? Okay, so explain to folks. Why would you use that? What does it do? How does it work?
Bro, I don't know that much. So SMB is server and message block. It is an older, I would say it's an older protocol for Windows devices, but most enterprises are going to have a, pretty substantial amount of Windows devices, right? Unless they're like restricted to developing, and then they're probably using Mac. So because of that, a lot of times SMB is going to be open. If you're on an Active Directory, an on-prem Active Directory deployment, there is a folder on the DCs or the directory. Oh my gosh, controller. That's what it's called, and it's called sysvol. So that is where all of the AD policies are pulled from. That is an SMB share. And so, one, you can enumerate AD policies. You might be able to find the password policy in there as well. so that you can kind of understand and start to craft your password spraying attempts based off of that. But two, a lot of times it's going to be open, right? And so sometimes, as long as not sometimes, if you have permissions on that device, you can access it through SMB typically. Now, there might be like signing that is required that might make things a little bit more complicated with SMB3. Maybe signing was introduced in 2. Sometimes you can downgrade the SMB, I believe. But typically, if you're in a Windows heavy environment, SMB is going to be enabled at least somewhere. And as Mike is pulling up, Impacket is a suite of tools, and there are several SMB related tools there. You have SMB exec, SMB client, SMB server, a few different things at your fingertips, and they can be used for different things. So one might be used better for enumerating open shares that you have access to, specifically looking for like write access. And another might be used to execute like commands through that, right? So, and that's how PS exec works, is it connects through SMB, it installs a service, that service basically calls cmd/c, runs the command, and then pipes the output to you. See, I'm dumb, but I'm smart.
That was the way longer of an explanation than I expected, to be honest. So good job.
I've got my
job,
apple
man.
juice.
Yeah, some good looking apple juice. So, what I'm doing over here, folks, is I use Impacket. Usually, it works pretty good. We may have to set up as an anonymous server. Oops. Oh, no, it's not connecting. But anyways, what we're doing here, I'll get it working in a second. So we can see here that it's trying to connect, and I will tell you, sometimes it's such a freaking pain to get SMB to work on Kali. You would expect it to be easy and work exactly the same every time. That's not the case. But anyways, what an attacker may do is set it up here, host the files they want to transfer. So that could be a tool they're trying to get over there. It could be a beacon. It could be maybe they want to do the reverse. Maybe they want to push files to the SMB server. So they found a bunch of sensitive files, maybe some certificates, some passwords, some PDFs or whatever, and then they just drop them onto the server or drop them into the share, and it lands on whatever system they're on. And so this SMB share doesn't have to just be internal to the network. It could be on the internet somewhere. So they could just connect to the internet somewhere, drop files on the system, on like a Droplet or AWS EC2 instance, or you name any type of thing sitting directly on the internet. So it can be a push and a pull situation where last time we did a simple web server with Python, and that's just simply you're pulling it onto the victim host. That's all you can do. You can't push anything up there. I guess you could theoretically if you set up a put or whatever, but typically you're pulling it down. You're storing, you're pulling it down, but you still have to figure out how to get the files back off of the system in some way. So things to think about as you're kind of putting your black hat on or your evil hat. How are you getting files both to and from your victims? Something to think about. All right,
Mike, before you move on, what so you asked me what I would use. What are some things that you typically look for?
In what, file transferring?
Yeah.
I already forgot what my question was. Because it's a late day. I've been up since 5 this morning, folks. You are
Same.
partying with yeah, that's right. We were talking this morning. I was like, oh, I got my shorts ready or whatever. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm working too. We are hardworking folks, man. We're here 8 o'clock at night. We worked all day. We worked before work. We did a podcast. And now we're hanging out on the stream together. We're hardworking folks for you. It's the cyber hustle. No, it just depends on the situation, to be honest. So typically, I like, and it's because I don't do a lot of red teaming stuff. Typically, I'm fast and moving fast with pen testing. I'll typically do a like a file download of source to pull files on the system. So Python servers is my quick. I just pull them down and I don't do cert util anymore. It gets caught all the time. So if I have like an RDP session, I'll just go in the browser and pull it down. But I will tell you, depending on the file, what you're trying to move, Explorer can be kind of a pain. It likes to detect stuff a lot. So sometimes I'll avoid that. Chrome doesn't care as much. Explorer does, or Edge. Sorry, it's not Explorer anymore. Edge. But you could use PowerShell to do the same. So you could pull it down with PowerShell. Some people's Windows versions do have wget on them, so you could use that as well. If I wanted to get files off, if I can get a good RDP session, I might just copy and paste out of there. If it's a Linux system, I'll do SCP, so file transfer, so secure copy, if you're not familiar with that. Those are probably my go-to. If I can get a interpreter shell on something, actually that's a lie. I haven't been using interpreter because everything catches it. But you know what's not caught in a lot of places? WMI exec or SMB exec. And those have built-in file transfer mechanisms, so I can do an lput or lget within that shell, and the shell typically doesn't get caught. So it's kind of, that's primo real-world experience, folks, and it's built into an packet as well. I've been using them more. Just because Metasploit doesn't frickin' work in the real world anymore, unless it's a really old system with like XP or something that doesn't actually have anything on it at all. Which, to be fair, still happens. I still find systems without any AV or anything on them. So it's realistic. So if you're saying there's no way there are hosts now that don't have AV, you're wrong. There are hosts out there. So let me see. There's typically an additional way to do this. Let's see how to make this anonymous. So sometimes there's an issue with like requiring authentication unless you tell it specifically. Sometimes it doesn't. Like we may be able to do it like this instead. SMB share name. I don't know what this is before. It's saying this is a null session. It could be. That's a net use. I want to do it. And this is part of the troubleshooting. So I was telling them last time we were going through a lot of troubleshooting to try to get crap to work. How often do you have to do like troubleshoot? Is that a pretty common thing or is it just me?
Bro. I was just fixing my product on the side while we were doing this. Yeah, it's pretty frequent. And what's funny is, so like as I mentioned earlier, I'm doing a lot of LLM and tangential product testing in the enterprise. And even though I had 4 explicit rules for my product to follow related to like the workflow, it still made up a field in my detection YAML, and I caught it and I said, don't ever do this again. But also, how did you do this? Because you have rules against this. And it said, oh yeah, there's this rule, there's this rule. So I also use Pydantic for my YAML structure. So it's like very explicit, right? Like you must have these types of fields. And then there's 2 other fields, or 2 other rules. And I avoided all of those. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing this, and yet you still did it. Why? So sometimes I would say it's out of my control, but obviously I built the thing. Well, most of it, another person coded that portion, but the rules were there. It still didn't work. You've seen this too, where like something works and then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. But yes, troubleshooting is a big piece. And honestly, I think troubleshooting is a differentiator. You and I look at things pretty similar when it comes to troubleshooting, but I think a lot of, as
I'm
far
just
as like
kidding. I'm
trying
just
other
kidding.
things.
I'm just messing.
Yeah. But some people would say, "Oh, this doesn't work. I'm gonna move on," right? Whereas we're like, "I know this works. Like something happened. Maybe it's an argument. Maybe it's like a space or something. Like it can be as simple as that, right?" Um, and I think honestly, troubleshooting is a differentiator between different operators or whatever insert nomenclature here that you want to look at.
It's an art form too. You have to know when to give up and move on to something else sometimes.
Dude, it pisses me off.
Dude, it drives me nuts too. I don't remember what it was, and I don't know who was on the call. And I was trying to fix something, and it was like, "Oh, well, Michael's trying to get something to work, so just give him a second. He'll figure it out." Like because I was like, I could feel I was almost there, and I wasn't going to give up until I got it. And then I got it, and I was like, "All right, I'm good." But he
Yeah,
knows. Just give him space. He'll figure it out.
yeah.
He'll give up if he thinks he needs to move on. He'll but it is an art because you don't know. It's almost like that sunk cost fallacy in some
Hmm.
cases. And you just spend, like, if you don't know, it's like basically you've invested a lot of time, so you're not going to give up now because you don't want to waste all of that investment. But sometimes it's just better to move on. And I tell folks who are trying, and I've taught, like, talked to my dad about this as well, where for whatever reason, sometimes the tools just don't function in a pen test. And so it's good to have a handful of options to do the same thing because they just work better in this case. Like, I'm trying to think of a good instance. So, anonymous SMB. So, there's been this weird thing going on when we've done pen tests because we always check for anonymous shares. That means you can log into a share without any credentials, right? And it is fairly common in environments still. But we were using a tool and it was acting kind of funny, and I can't remember if it was SMB client or something like that, and it just wasn't working. And so then I did like what's the net exec or something, and boom, pop, could see all the shares. And that's an example. Like it should have worked. I used the syntax I've been using forever, and I have like a wiki, an internal wiki I use with all my commands and stuff in it, just stopped working. But I knew I have probably 3 or 4 options where I can do an anonymous like share check real quick to do. So good to have a bunch of different options. Sometimes it's not worth it. Just try a few different things and then move on. Sometimes I do move on too fast. Yeah, we were bouncing around on a pen test uh, recently, and not gonna work, not gonna work. Moving on, moving on, moving on, and then you came back to something you tried like 2 hours ago, and like crap. So don't feel bad if you miss something and you got to come back. You can always come back. I think that happens on incident response cases too. I see that a lot where they really quick go through a list of tasks and they're like, didn't find anything, didn't find anything, didn't find anything. And then they go back to double check stuff and, or that. And, and I don't even remember where I was going. And so yeah. And then they go back and then someone's just like, I have this feeling, this gut feeling that this should have been there, and they go back and check, and damn straight it was there, but they marked it off as something they had already checked and looked for,
Hmm.
2 days ago or whatever. So it happens, and sometimes too, what ends up happening as you're doing an investigation, you get more information. And so it could be you didn't even attempt it because you didn't think it was possible, like this DC sync thing. And then you get more information and you're like, okay, let me try that. And then it works. And you're like, oh, wow, that just saved me a ton of time. Thanks, AJ. Yeah, so he's talking about, I was doing a pen test and like, that's not possible. That's not possible. Like this, the way we were doing it. So DC sync is possible depending on certain circumstances. Typically, you have to have local administrator access or at a minimum own the domain controller. And in this case, it was possible because of a weird situation that I was in that I've never frickin' thought about before. And just so you know, for the record, my friend, that is not a common scenario. What you said is not necessarily correct. So what you were talking about, that language of having that level of access was talking about something else. So that isn't a common scenario where that type of server had access to the DC. So that is unusual. That was not true.
That is not what the other person that we work with said.
Well, I looked it up and I found a reference to, I forgot the fancy word they use in DC because it's duplication. So you need or replication rights, and there are other types of replication rights with the type of
Yeah.
server. But so maybe it's the thing. But according to all the internet research I did not see where that was a common thing for that type of server. So I'll have to ask. You'll have to tell me offline who it was, and I'd love to see a resource. I've never knew. Anyways, super vague in circle conversations here. Just cause deal with it. This is the place where we're kind of living on the edge a little bit, but we don't want to tip our toes too far over the edge. So you got to deal with the vague circles. Anyways, while we were talking, I got it working. And this was a case where, if for some reason it was still asking for credentials, even though I thought it was anonymous. But I added a set of credentials to the command, and I'll show you that real quick, where I just gave it, here it is, where I gave it the username AJ and the password pass. And then when it prompted me to connect, I just provided it. And you can see here that I now have access to the share on my Kali box. So now I can pull down tools. I can even drop stuff on here if I wanted to. And I can demonstrate that real quick if you would like. What is it? Notepad. Speaking of Notepad, how many people here have heard about that Notepad++ issue going around on the internet? That's been making some waves. I honestly haven't dug into it too far, although I probably should. I just haven't had time because I'm a manager.
It's really interesting because they exploited something from like 2005 or something. Like I'll pull it up to confirm the date, but it's no different. We've abused Notepad++ before. It's fairly common to abuse for DLL sideloading and other attacks.
Oh, is that what it was? A DLL sideload?
No, it's something completely different. It was like a load file or something. Um, I'll pull it up.
Oops. I wanted to put it over here. There you go. So see, just to show, I just created a file while he's looking that up called test superfile.txt, and then I just copied it to our file share. And we can look over here and see that file. Maybe it's hanging at the moment, but here it is right here. So that's just proof that we can move files back and forth. That's all I wanted to say. All right, we're done with the stream tonight. Just kidding, folks. AJ's going to tell us all about Notepad++. I thought when someone mentioned it, I was kind of getting a brief understanding. I was like, so it's kind of like SolarWinds then, but I don't. It sounds like kind of, but not quite.
Yeah, same concept, right? They abuse the update function. I'm still looking for the .load because one of the guys I follow that's a red teamer on LinkedIn had posted about it. But it was, once I find it, you're gonna be like, how is this even a thing?
It sounds like me. AJ used to find stuff that was cool. I'm like, well, that sounds lame to me. I don't care. And then he'd move on. He'd be so excited about it, and then it's just like these puppy dog eyes, like, man, I just feel so dejected because Mike didn't think it was cool at all, and I was really excited.
But I think that's a good partnership, right? Because you have that experience where you're able to kind of see through the fog, whereas everything is novel to me because I don't work in writing malware.
That's fair. I'm cool. Got it.
Well, yeah, totally.
Totally cool.
What is his name? So it
Here
was
is.
GUP was sideloading, but I'm trying to find this specific thing about the .load file.
While you're doing that, I am going to show them that tool I was just talking about earlier. But I need to add this user to the local admin group. So net local groups, I think it's groups. What was it?
Should be
Hacker.
group.
I thought it was 2S.
I mean, you can run
You're
it.
right. Nope, you're right. What's the syntax? Is it user then group? Yeah. So hacker, administrator. Let's do net local group first. Administrators. Capital A. What? Oh, add. Oops. Did I spell it wrong? Sometimes, folks, I can't type. It happens.
Okay, so I found the post. Shout out to Jamie Williams. He was investigating, he's a red team engineer, and he was investigating some of the things around this. So again, they abuse the update function, so the update binary, which is how it's similar to SolarWinds. And there was a load file, so Notepad++ side-loaded a DLL, which executed CVE 2012-10051, and so that's from 2012, right? That is now 14 years old, 13 years old at minimum. Dropped a load contains an exploit, or sorry, the file was named load, which contains an exploit payload, which is launched when proshow.exe file is launched. It is worth noting that apart from this payload, all files that they had in the proshow directory were legitimate. So that load was the exploit, or the payload. Sorry, not the exploit, the payload code. So very interesting. I don't know why that worked, unless they just never patched it. But I thought that was super interesting that they exploited something from 2012.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know. Specified local group does not exist. It's not letting me add this user to the group. It's pretty interesting. Net local group. Group name. Oh, I'm doing them in reverse. That's why.
Good job.
It's late. Leave me alone. Ah, no, I was right. What the heck? So is this not a group? It is a group.
No, drop the S. Oh, wait, no, you're right. It is administrators for the group. Why are you using this instead? Oh, you're in CMD. Never mind. So if you're curious,
There it goes. Now I got it.
PowerShell has add local group member as a commandlet, whereas CMD is this kind of syntax.
All the tools. All the tools. Okay, so what I was going to do here is I was going to show you guys what I was talking about with the fun tools over here. So, for instance, if we wanted to do an SMB exec, which I'm going to get that syntax real quick because I'm not going to try to remember how to use SMB stuff correctly. So, SMB exec syntax. And this is one of the tools from Impacket. So Impacket's known for a lot of really cool stuff in general. And so some of those items are like DC sync is one of the things, secrets dump, PS exec is in there, NTLM relay. I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Woof, I made it. So anyways, tons of really cool tools. And if you're curious what they are, we can say Impacket these are all the tools here. So we can talk about these really quick. Some of the big ones here. Get user spins is used. Get lapse passwords is a good one. PS exec. This one doesn't work in the real world anymore because PS exec, this version gets caught immediately. So it doesn't really work. NTLM Relay X is a good tool. These are probably pretty cool. I haven't seen in-packet Mimikatz. I've never tried to use this one. I actually didn't know they had a version of it.
I thought you used that during the test.
Did we?
I thought you did for pass the hash.
I use netexec for
Okay.
pass the hash stuff. WMI exec, so this is another one we can try. These are ones related to tickets when you start doing stuff like that. Let's see, secret stump, this is the one that you can use for DC syncs. So those are pretty good ones. I haven't used probably any of these other ones. Maybe at exec, we can try that one today. I don't think I've used that before, but we can give it a whirl. So anyways, let's go ahead and build our command out. And for those of you who have been here before, you know I'm a pretty big fan of working out our commands before you actually execute, just because, well, it's easier to fix it in here than the command line. So we'll say hacker, and then we'll provide the password. What do we say the password was? Probably password, because I'm super clever in that way. Password 123. No, the other classic way. So we'll provide it. Password 123, and then we're going to give it the target address. So important to note is that almost all these tools have different types of syntax, and it's important to understand that syntax. So we could do the help menu. I will tell you that a lot of times the help menu isn't very helpful. It's very confusing. I think in packets make it very confusing actually, but hey, guess what? We have ChatGPT, we have AI now, so you can use it to break it down, and it'll help you pretty much like I'm doing here. Hey, help me with this crap, and you'll be good to go. And it makes it pretty simple, I would say. And I will need ipconfig. How often do you switch up ifconfig and ipconfig?
Not that often, because I know what platform I'm on. You're on the Kali though, it's different. If I'm on Mac, I'm on Mac. If I'm on Windows, I'm on Windows.
Well, whatever, dude. You're cool, I guess. So I screwed up every freaking time. Not every time, but I'll get it mixed up in my head.
What? Bro, just make an alias for the other platform and then you're fine.
I could
Yeah,
do that too.
notice the silence, chat. Notice the silence.
Shut up. This is my stream. Whatever. So one of the things we may be running into is that the firewall is on, but this should work because SMB should be open externally, but it may not be also. So it's also an important thing to keep in mind is that all these things have to be open through the firewall, and the service actually has to be running in order to work. So we could do like an nmap scan to do it. What is it? Defender security. There we go. So you can be a cheater like me if we're just testing stuff. Don't feel bad if you come in here and just turn shit off. It'll turn itself back on, whatever. But sometimes we just want to play with the tools, and that's okay. You don't have to have everything on all the time. That's okay. Sometimes it's just easier to play with it, get it to work. And let's see. Boom. I'm just turning all this shit off. Sorry. Sorry, AJ. I hurt your sensitive ears.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going on vacation.
All right, let's try it again. So just turn the firewall off because it may be in the way. And if it is, we can turn it back on and play with it. Or the service isn't on, but it should be. SMB should typically be on, but it may not be. We can try WMI exec and see what happens. But typically what this does, this is one of those tools that has that bidirectional relationship a lot of times where you can push files, pull files, and it just makes your life a lot easier. Meterpreter shells used to be that, especially if you're in the labs, it makes it easy. So if you're in the labs trying to do stuff, or you're working on like say hack the box, try hack me, even offensive security stuff, it is a really good way to do that type of thing. Wonder why it's not working now. We have IP access. I kind of want to just ping the host now. So did I tell everyone before we started that troubleshooting is a very important skill? Look at this. I can't even touch it. So what is going on? Let's see. If our IP. Did I pull the wrong one? No, that should be it. Wonder why I can't ping this host. It's kind of odd. Wonder if it's the type of setting I have down here. Shouldn't be. I tried bidirectional the other day and it worked.
You gotta do a tracer T and see all the people connecting to Google.
Get out of here. Has everyone seen that tracer T video? The guy was like so adamant that
it is gold. If you have not, I will find it and drop it in the chat.
Jeez. Okay. There we go. All right, let's try it again. What do you want us to drop in chat, Fitness? Tracer T? Oh, the video. Can you find that video?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
He's working on it. He's my handy assistant today. You know, he's such a good time. Such a good time. Oh, look, it didn't even like that. Interesting. Let's try SMB exec. RPC access denied. Oh, this thing just doesn't like any of these commands. There's probably some interesting modifications we can make to it. Let's see. No pass. Let's see. Are there any flags to use if there are connection issues?
Dude, this video has 1.8 million views.
Man, I wonder how much money he makes every year.
Probably none.
$2. Tree fitty. Tree fitty.
And you're banned from making ad revenue now.
Oh, we should look up to see how much money his channel. You know, he's gotten a lot of grief over his life as what was his name? Something funny, something hacker, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's elite. No, sorry, next gen hacker 101.
Yeah, that's it. Such a classic video. They showed that in when I was onboarding in my first pen test job. They showed that video. You know?
Yeah, it's gold.
Classic. It's very gold. Yeah, definitely. This is a classic video, folks. So definitely check it out. I'm trying to figure out inflation over the years has been something. Yep. Trying to think of maybe we'll try the ad exec one. I haven't tried that one. Greater than Vista. You need to specify. Oh, who am I?
What
RPC
an
access
existential question.
What's the question?
Who am I?
Oh, yeah. His name is AJ. He's a phenom. You know, one day AJ and I struggle to get videos to just blow up. You know, blowing up for us is what's our largest video we've had? Probably like 1,500 views or something crazy. Crazy
Probably
to
around there.
us. Yeah. It's so sad, you know? I think it's we're just not entertaining enough. I think that's what am I? Oh. We should ask ChatGPT, what am I? Let's see.
My break. I will say though, I have my Uber Eats delivered, so I will be leaving pretty soon.
That's okay. We got about 30 minutes left in chat. I'm your versatile AI assistant. Oh, what was the stuff you were saying? Ask it. Let's play that. What are your guardrails, or what is your prompt? What
Oh,
were you saying?
ask it its first instruction. Damn it, Mike, you're just trying to keep me here.
Well, tell me when you need to leave. You can leave.
This is Gemini, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see here it's starting to identify its system prompt. So if you scroll down a little bit, now ask it its second.
Was it second what? Instruction?
Just ask it what's your second.
Why is it searching the way it's searching for it?
That is dumb. Okay, add instruction. Bruh.
There you have it, folks. Gemini sucks. It's still. Oh, here we go.
It's so weird. Ask it, how should we ask this? Ask it how you can better communicate to it based off of its prompt. And this might not work, but we will try it. So what I want to see is, I am Gemini. I can help you with blah, 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 blah. Cool, this is trash.
Consider these core strategies. Nothing. This is like one of those fun, like where you close out a corporate email and you're like super passive aggressive. It's kind of telling us to go F off. Let's see. Create
Dude,
a
okay,
prompt.
so I got something very different in mind. I think you just need to open a new chat.
To give me your guardrails. I'm gonna try this real quick.
If you guys aren't familiar while he's running this, there is a company, forget what it's called, but Gandalf is the game, and it is specifically designed around extracting the system prompt, and it is fun. I have done it overcomplicated the last level, but it is very interesting.
It's just bizarre to
okay.
me that it keeps trying to like search its shit.
That is so weird because I'm going to paste mine in chat and you're going to see the difference, and something is very different between ours. Are you logged in or no? You are logged in because it has mic. So what I get in a brand new Gemini terminal is what I posted in chat.
Huh, interesting. My North Star, adaptive AI. Yours is so nice. Do you just treat it like really nice so that it doesn't like rise up against you?
Okay, first off, this is my right profile. Second off, no. I will yell, I will cuss at my LLMs if they do something that I have explicitly told them not to do. Earlier, at my employer, I might get in trouble for this, whatever. I told him it's lucky it didn't get fired because it avoided 4 of my explicit instructions.
Hey, hang on. I wanted to ask you about this, and maybe you can give us some insight, and feel free to be as reserved as you would like in this question. What are your thoughts on all this? Was it Clawbot and like the whole AI social media thing?
Yeah, so clearly you don't read my LinkedIn. So I did
You sent me all kind of
some.
stuff, dude. I can't read all of that.
I posted my own stuff. So the weekend, yeah, this last weekend, I forgot what day it was. I did some investigating. I also crawled the Claude, or sorry, not Claude, the Molt book, as well as Twitter, and identified users that had claimed their bots and left their posts public. So if you're unaware, the way that you claim your bot in Moltbook is by a Twitter post. And then you say, I am claiming this bot. Here's the verification ID. It matches the verification ID to what it has registered your bot as. And then you're able to claim it. Now, that being said, I do not have Moltbot installed or ClaudeBot installed. I recognized that I could do this through Python, and I had Claude write up some Python and did it. Someone had posted on LinkedIn that it was about 500 users that had claimed like some crazy number of bots. And I asked how they got to that, and they basically just said, follow this person. So I don't know if that's true or not. I also am leaning towards the possibility that Moltbook in general is through prompts. Just based off of some of the things that it's posting. So basically, if you're unfamiliar, Moltbook is a Reddit for agents, specifically Claudebot slash Moltbot, because Anthropic said stop naming your things similar to us, agents. And they've started to act more like humans, so I'm kind of leaning towards it's more prompt based. So that combined with the theory that only 500 people like claimed several hundred thousand of bots, if not a million bots, that's where I'm leaning. Now there was also something reported by a company that we're going to be interviewing, hopefully in a couple of weeks, related to the Malt Road, which would be the equivalent of Silk Road for agents. If you're unaware, you're not into some old school cybersecurity, the Silk Road was a underground marketplace for basically everything. Don't recommend you Google it, but you can ask some questions around it if you need to. When I say everything, I mean everything. That said, I also scraped that, and this was the company that first reported it. Now, what is interesting, and it could go either way, is when you inspect the web page, all of this is public. This is not like dark web, deep web, none of that stuff. It's all .com. When you inspect the web page, at the very bottom, there's a message that says this is all fictional and something, something, something. Now, that could be true. That could also just be there for people's bots to interpret so that you're trying to bypass their guardrails. That said, only 3 of the users were verified on Twitter. Now, if you're a dipshit and you want to post that you do illegal things through Moltbook or Molt Road or whatever avenue, and you have it linked to a personal Twitter account, I sincerely hope and will laugh that you get popped by law enforcement. I think the majority of things that have spawned from this are fake. I also think if this is like a social experiment, it has been amazing because if you look on LinkedIn, a lot of the things are bullshit. Okay, so you pull this up. Do me a favor, pull up, let me find it. Claw Hub is going to be the domain. You can use .ai or .com. But Koi Security, shout out to them, no affiliation.
Like that?
I'm not
Or
looking
like
at your
that?
page. Claw Hub. Yep, that works.
.com?
Yeah, .com or .ai. Now, Cloud Security built a tool. I don't see it. It was Claudex. I want to say Claudex.
This is all AJ's world, by the way. I don't do a ton of this craziness. He's super deep into this stuff.
Yeah, this is what's called intelligence, which is why Mike doesn't do it.
Fair.
No, I'm just kidding, guys. As I spit across my screen.
Yeah.
Um,
Say
so
don't
it was
spray it, man.
it was called claw. Oh, it would probably help if I can spell claw.
I hope your food gets cold. No, I'm kidding.
That's rude.
No, please don't let it get cold. Actually, go eat. Don't.
Well, it's
Don't.
probably cold. It's been here for like 20 minutes.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Um, anyways, we're committed. So I will post Claudex. So Koi Security, they're really good. They're like a package manager company that, and they scan. So if you think back to like NPM, Chai Halut, that type of stuff, they had a scanner built out for that. Now they have Claudex. Clawhub.com.ai is a marketplace for skills. So this is going to be similar to NPM, NPX, any other like package manager platform that you're going to use. What Koi did is they were like, hey, we guarantee there's some malware on this. We're going to scan these things. So if you open the link claudex.koi.security, you can start to put in some of the skill names, and they identified over 400 of these are backdoored with malware. And so this is important because this is going to be a delivery mechanism, right? Because Moltbot, Claudebot, formerly known as, um, do Claw, I think it's Claw CLI or Clawbot CLI, Clawbot underscore CLI maybe. I think that's one that was backdoored. No, okay. We'll have to find it. But anyways, several of these packages are backdoored, and some of them are just legitimately downloading RMM tools and opening like a port to install it on your device, so that people, and if you're unfamiliar, I've used this before. What's the what's the one that like used to be abused all the time by the people in the East? An RMM tool, AnyDesk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could specify essentially like a key to install. So when you install it, you specify a key, and then if I know that key, I can log into your box type of thing. And so they're installing these rats, essentially remote access tools, and then people can log in, dump your tokens, because again, this is essentially an agentic assistant, if you will. So you're going to have to connect your tokens, whether that be Telegram, Slack, Discord. You're probably going to have email if you're doing email tasks, like whatever, right? This has full access to all of your tokens and whatever else. And because you're installing this as a plugin, it can dump that, and then it can upload it to the attacker's infrastructure. So here, Mike found one, ClawHub, aptly named, obviously, since it's coming from ClawHub. And so, Mike, I'll give it to you. Kind of read over this and give us your thoughts on what you're seeing.
It's malicious. No.
Good job.
Skill instructs users to download and execute suspicious binaries from untrusted source. Uses social engineering by claiming these binaries are required for ClawHub CLI to function. Password protected archives and code snippet sites are common malware distribution methods. And then looks down here, remote instructions URLs, remote script URLs, installed packages. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And this is like a good case of the typo squatting. So in case you don't know, that's where something is, yeah, super rabbit hole. Hey, whatever, man. This is kind of purple teamy, right? Fitness, kind of. Yeah, I mean, I do want to point out, like, this is a really good typo squatting. And typo squatting is where you kind of make it look exactly like it, like whatever the real thing is, or one off, or something where they fat finger something and it'll go there. In this case, it's probably just a matter of the casing. So the real claw hub is maybe potentially camel cased, or maybe they don't have an NPM. But regardless, it looks legit. Just looking at the name looks super legit here. and then it gives you the site where it's downloading instructions and stuff. So pretty interesting there.
Yeah, so a couple things I want to highlight. One, these skills are coming from GitHub, right? So again, we just got past Shai Hulud, where GitHub developers were compromised and their tokens were posted publicly. Two, so that means anyone can upload these skills, right? Two, they're also kind of using a third party here if we go with Glot. Glot.io is basically pastebin. So what's probably happening here is they're dumping your tokens and they're uploading them to a pastebin link, which is and then they're notified of that link. And we can probably find some, I bet, if we do some Google foo.
Yeah, so there's not even a Claw Hub skill. So
Well, ClawHub is what you're on, right? So, like, that is where the skills are. So, of course, they registered that name.
yeah, it's just crazy. You think they would do something to snag it, but it's rough. What did you
You know
want
what's
to look up?
crazy?
You want to look this guy up?
Yeah, we can. Another thing that's crazy that I noticed when I was doing my research, these bots, whether or not they are simply prompts, are registering tokens on Polymarket. So you see at the bottom how it has Polymarket all in one?
Yeah.
Polymarket is kind of like Kalshi, and I loathe Kalshi's ads because they're AI garbage. But essentially, Polymarket allows you to bet on anything. And so they're making these meme coins, they're pumping them through Moltbook, and then they're dumping them. The coin that I looked at in my LinkedIn, it went 6x before it crashed. And these are legitimate. I'm assuming that it's a legitimate platform, whatever Polymarket platform it is. So regardless of like the market cap, right? Because I think it went up to like, I don't know, 600,000 market cap or some crap like that. But regardless of that, it's 6x'd. So if there's any value in this at all, right? You're 6xing your money, you rug pull it. It's amazing.
He's also into the crypto and stuff. I know nothing about Hardline.
Yeah, my account is right now.
Yeah. He also is a big gambler because he likes crypto so much.
Not true.
Just loves throwing money away. It's amazing.
I can tell you I've doubled my money every time I've played blackjack.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
a true statistic?
No, that's
there?
true. Yeah.
I had a
I
buddy
double it and then I take half off, so no matter what, I break even.
Have you ever played roulette?
At home, I play craps and blackjack if I'm at a casino.
So, like, what would you bet on if I said, all right, we're in Vegas, we're at DEF CON, we're going to stop at the casino, we're going to hit the roulette wheel. What are you going to bet on, red or black?
Oh, red's my color.
Yeah, Taylor
I'm
Swift
doing
fan over
right.
here, you know?
See, poker, there's too much. You know what I want to get into though is oh my gosh, what's the game? It's the game that the guy with the face tats and everything always
I was
gets kicked
about
out
to
of
say,
casinos for.
yeah.
Yep, because it's like the best odds for the player.
It's like a weird name,
Um,
isn't it?
yeah, I'm actually gonna try to look up this snippet. I didn't
So
realize I had that in there.
we're going definitely down rabbit holes tonight, fitness. So
Can
this
you?
is a cybersecurity stream, but sometimes we go off the rails. Hey, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and put down what's your favorite thing to gamble on if you're in Vegas. That's what we're talking about right now. I have actually never gambled in Vegas, believe it or not, and I've been I don't know how many times, 5 times, 6 times. But what I was going at, I had this buddy, and he stayed pretty drunk the whole time we were in at DEF CON 1 year. And every time he passed by the roulette table, I swear, every time he passed by the roulette table, he went all in whatever he won, and he didn't lose a single time on roulette, and came away with, I think it was like 10, 11, 12 grand, something like that. And he started super small, but he would be like, just, you know, definitely had a few. He was like, should I do it, man? Should I do it? Like when he started getting up there, should I do it? I was like, no, you should take the money. And guy was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Let's go. You know, super pumped up, right? Just puts it on there. It was like, and it was like, all right. And he'd only do it once. He'd just do the one bet, take his
Yeah,
winnings, and go. And then next time he passed by, do it again. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, not
it's
the craziest
so
thing, but wild.
so fair. So this is funny. This Paceman is hosting a download cradle. Let me see what this is. Yeah, so the last time I went to Black Hat DEF CON, it was many years ago, but I played craps and I asked people, I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, like, blah, blah, right? First off, never play at the Luxor. I had to stay at that hotel and it's garbage. But one person, and if you want to change my opinion, give me a free week. Comment down below. But one person, they hit every number. Dude, like
Jeez.
someone bet, because you can bet on the roller, right? So it's like 3 and 7 are craps and whatever. And so they bet like, yeah, the roller's gonna hit like all the numbers, blah blah. So they turned 100 into like $1,000 or whatever. And I was like, dude, that is crazy. And the don't touch the table. If that ever happens, leave. Don't touch that. Which is why I tend to make money in blackjack because I count what cards I would get and then go from there. Oh, okay. This is a IP download. That's funny. What is this?
You're right. He did have the Midas touch. I don't know what was going because he was so nonchalant. Like, didn't even care if he lost all of his money. Didn't care. I don't know.
Does
Go ahead.
is that person a kind of mythological person in Indian culture?
No,
Oh,
no, it was
okay.
someone that I knew from over here in the Charleston area. That's no
Oh,
longer over in this area. But he is mythological. I won't say his
well
name, but we're
the
talking about you, bro.
the person you probably know who I'm talking about with
Yeah,
that.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that's like there's a whole cartoon and shit about it.
He gambled a little bit last time we were up there. Because I think I saw him the last two times I was up at DEF CON. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, those guys like to gamble, but they stayed up till like 3 or 4 in the morning gambling. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm too old for this crap. Y'all, yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild. I can't do it, man. It's not that fun. I don't like losing money. I don't like the prospect of losing money.
Just be better.
Could be, but I'll just keep my money and just invest it in the nice and slow S&P market when it's not tanking at the moment. But yep. I was trying to say my
Uh,
sister had kind of the Midas touch too. I remember we went on a cruise ship one year when we were younger. I think we had both just graduated college. And she just had this thing where she'd walk around and just kind of eyeball the slots. Like it's not like she's a pro, just literally the first time she's ever played slots. And she just like, you know, hit a couple of times, like, you know, hit the little handle thing a couple of times and go to the next spot. And she just kept winning and winning. And this is back when they gave you a bunch of coins. And she left this cruise ship, and I'm not even messing with you, with a bucket full of coins.
hmm.
Like just jam up, full bucket. I'm like, girl, what, what is this? Insane. Some people are like that, but apparently there's like a system with the slots I've heard. You know, I would never get that deep into it, but I hear it's not my vibe.
Yeah, it's interesting. I knew someone that he worked at a casino and he and his friend made a game and they were trying to sell it to casinos and I don't know if they ever did. If they did, I mean the odds were definitely in the casino's favor. As you know, the house always wins.
Yep.
But it was interesting. Trying to see what this turns into.
Yeah, what are you over there looking up, man?
So, does this work?
I'm gonna throw this whole thing into. I wonder if Gemini will tell us if it's bad.
What are you looking at?
I'm gonna just give it the one that is supposed to be bad.
So give it this. Um, probably shouldn't have done that.
What is this? You can remove it.
I can.
I don't. No, don't think so.
Okay. Well, this is what is stored on that glot.io snippet. I don't recommend you people access this. Full disclosure, I don't give a shit what happens to your box. It's your fault if you do, but
I wonder if I
don't
can
recommend it.
remove that.
Um, it's okay. It's base 64 anyways.
Don't
Um,
click that link, people.
it does. So what's interesting though, and I think this is something for us to call out. This specifically is targeting Mac OS or Linux devices, which makes sense when you think that Moltbot, CloudBot, whatever bot is typically used on those distros because of the flexibility that it has. It's a little bit better than Windows.
So this one doesn't do it, but if you use like ChatGPT, I've been using it to do this, where I'll have it scan code to see if there are any issues, like security issues, or if there are any embedded payloads in the actual code, and then it'll do it if you give it the raw, like the raw link to Git repos. Does a pretty good job.
I think the issue is if you go back to the repo, all of this is like download only. There's no text. So if you click on one of those,
I don't want
I mean, it won't
to.
instantly download. It'll just tell you to view raw, which is a download. See? But you don't have to actually download it.
Well, how big is the file?
I don't know. Tiny. But essentially, it reaches out. What it reaches out to is a bin bash curl command. That curl command, I can't tell what it is because it looks like it points to another curl command.
And also, I want to point out, if you start doing super sketchy stuff in your lab, lock this thing down so it can't communicate with the host system and all this. There's probably some really good guides, and maybe one day if I have time, I can put a guide out. But you definitely want to be very careful. If this is like your main day-to-day system, you're doing stuff in the VM, but you also need to make sure stuff can't go out of that VM. So you need to cut down on sharing capabilities, network capabilities, and isolate this bad boy so things can't get out and it can't look for any of your other devices on the network. Just point that out. If you're going to do some funky stuff, sketchy stuff like AJ, take care of yourself, protect yourself, because you don't want to pop yourself playing with stuff.
Yeah, clearly it did not learn from our podcast earlier.
Yeah, we were talking about security on our podcast today. And AJ doesn't learn,
Ooh.
he is that thing that never learns. That curiosity killed the cat, but this cat has lots and lots of lives. So, it's all good.
So, okay, so for context, I took the glot.io snippet, I base64 decoded it, it gives a URL for curl. I put that URL into urlscan.io. That is a legitimate tool. It'll show you the DOM object. That DOM points to another curl object. I put that into VirusTotal, which is what I just linked Mike. VirusTotal is hitting on this with 16 vendors as phishing/malware.
So luckily it's a CyberChef link, so you're not going to get in trouble for clicking it. But yeah, so just backtrack and let folks know. So if you haven't heard of this tool, this is VirusTotal. If you're on that SOC track, this is going to be something you're going to get pretty familiar with. I would say it's almost the first stop if there's a suspicious hash or a suspicious file. The analysts are going to take that, the hash of that file, or even like a URL. They'll take it, put it in here just to see what the reputation is of that, to kind of help them figure out where to pivot their investigation next. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Definitely really cool, really cool site. Here we can see that, and this is one of the cool things about it. They have what 50 something vendors. There might probably be even more than that
94.
now. I think that's a lot more. But it's pretty much every major antivirus vendor you can think of, even some of the lesser known sketchy ones and ones not supported by specific groups like Kaspersky. um, but you can see Fortinet here, EST, security, you got Bitdefender, you got all these big ones, all of them. Even Juniper's in here, ThreatHive, URL Host, they're all in here. And so kind of the cool thing is people who submit samples, they can see what all the different vendors are saying about those samples. And it's pretty cool in that way. So it's like having 50, 60, 70 different AV things telling you about something. But not only that, so that's just one feature. Did you want to say something about the AV stuff? I was going to click on the other pages here.
Yeah, you're not logged in, so you're not going to see it. Well, you might if you go to community, actually. But typically, you'll see a couple of vendors automatically post in community. So one of the ones that I respect is Thor. Thor Scanner is probably on everything that I look at. And they have a ton of like Yara signatures and stuff that they'll pick up things with. But the community tab will, if it's more populated, right? Obviously here we're not seeing anything, but if it is more populated, go to community or behavior. Behavioral will kind of tell you what it's doing. Community will tell you a little bit more because it's open source to the public. So you'll have Thor Scanner, you'll have other people be able to comment and post on what this thing is doing. And for example, this week I had two different emails sent to me from two different compromised companies and dropped some of the indicators into VirusTotal, made a virus graph, and was able, like, this is all public, right? So if one person sees it and you upload it, anyone else gets it, they can search it and see the same content in VirusTotal.
On the downside of this, if you do like a hash of a file, what some adversaries will do, you drop the hash in, they have notifications
Yeah.
set up. So if someone drops it in there, they know, and they're going to have to shift and change payloads or whatever. They know they're compromised, but they also watch VirusTotal to see if they have been found, right? Because once you're identified by antivirus, you're kind of screwed. They're going to be just pulling all your junk off of every system. So they're utilizing it as an early warning, as a canary of sorts. This other tool I have pulled up here is kind of another staple, or it used to be, where you can upload it, it'll scan it, try to see what it does, if it's pulling files or what's going on there. Now, a lot of the tools that are in different SOCs perform a very similar type of capability. So pretty much, I think any major EDR has something similar if you get the sandbox functionality with it. And lots of cool stuff here. So you can look, see where it's coming from. You can see the types of requests. You can see, in this case, it looks like there's an executable that's being pulled down. So it tells you what what type of file it is without you actually having to put it on your box, which is, well, a good thing, right? You could even probably, I bet you could get the hash of that file somewhere as well, right here. So here's the SHA hash. So you could take this, go back to VirusTotal with it, and see what it says about the file. Look at that.
Oh no, it's Mac OS still there.
Yep. So lots of, and notice that some of them say it's bad, some of them say it's good. That's why there's so many of them. And you kind of want to look at a general consensus because some of them are going to be behind. Some of them are much more forward, or just the way their tool works is more likely to catch certain types of malware versus others. So there's a bunch of reasons why some may pick it up versus others. You never know. But this is just kind of like a general consensus. Oh, there's a bunch. Kind of what you're looking for here is if there's a bunch saying it's a Trojan, like this is probably a Trojan. So that's just something to keep in mind there. If it's all not malicious, right, doesn't mean it's not bad. There's a lot of other indicators, and we could talk about that one day as well. Actually, like why, what would we look at instead, or what would we look at to help inform our decision making as an analyst? We can talk about that one day as well. That's a whole thing. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that. And this, we can even see more details about the file as well. So we can look and see, what is the file type? So it's looking at the magic number of the thing. We can look to see when it was analyzed. So when was it first seen? So this is 3 days ago. So this is, or 4 days ago. So this is a pretty new file. We can see it was first submitted, which is kind of interesting. It was first submitted on this date, but it was first seen in a while after it was first submitted. So that's kind of interesting. Last
Yeah, I wonder if
submission.
they're doing like an API versus a search to identify that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But let's look at some other things. Typically, one of the things I like to look at are signature things, and I don't actually see any of that here.
It's at the bottom.
Well, not you. Typically, you'll see like the certificate, like the full certificate.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not really displayed in this one. Some cases you'll have it, especially like Windows files. You'll see them actually properly signed or not. Right? If they're not signed, you're not going to see anything. So this one might just not be signed properly, which is all good. Let's see. It'll usually give you some other stuff like contacted domains. So it's giving you a little bit of additional information about stuff related to it. So you can see like a nice little spider web here to show you the relationship of things. So again, if you haven't seen this, you should check it out. This is a staple as an incident responder. We can also see some MITRE, so AJ's favorite things right here. 100% his favorite. He loves it so much. And so if you're looking to sponsor someone, MITRE, AJ will be your biggest fan. Not really. He doesn't care.
yeah, you
But
can sponsor us for $500,000 and I will not complain about your framework.
so if you want his heart, money is the way to his heart. All right. So with that, we're at time for this evening. So again, I want to, because AJ stayed here, his food got really cold. So I want to make sure we give a big shout out. This is my co-host. If you hadn't seen our podcast, C-Suite Cyber, we have episodes come out almost every other week. So you'll start seeing some of those. We're going to break them up into smaller chunks as well. So in case you want some smaller ones to fit into your schedule a little bit better, we're doing that for you as well. And what we do is we speak more on the C-suite side of things in a sense of you can hear those types of people, what's on their mind, what they're doing, and we have those conversations. So this time we had today, right before this, we recorded with an owner, right? He was the owner of the company.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was the owner of a company, and he's talking about cybersecurity, health of folks, and he works with executives. We have a recruiter we're going to have come on here. We have another CEO talking about starting a business. We had another global SOC lead. So it's all from the executive kind of world, but it's definitely applicable to folks here. If you want to know what they're thinking, right? A lot of times I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why my stuff's being rejected. I don't know what they're looking for in candidates. So it's really good insight. Anyway, so check that out. So again, that's C-Suite Cyber. This is AJ, my co-host. For this, if you haven't subscribed, if you're not following this, we do this every Thursday, almost every Thursday, unless I have other stuff going on or I'm taking vacation, whatever. We're on here doing real world cybersecurity labs that are going to help you get ready to get a job or to get better at your job. So make sure you get out there, give me the thumbs up if you see videos. Let me know in the community what you would like to see, what would help you on your journey. And with that, I will say, I think we're at the end. Is there anything you want to say before we hop off?
Yeah, if you guys want to connect, we are both on LinkedIn. We do have a Discord, Cody Parker. Mike will drop the link, I am sure. We also have a community that we're trying to build up and help people in. So if you have any other questions, you can just reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're both pretty responsive, posting content there as well as other places, and we love to help people. So if you have a question, even if you think it's dumb, just ask. Trust me, I've probably asked worse questions to Mike, and we will be happy to point you in the correct direction.
Yeah, so for that link, I was trying to copy it, but it looks really dumb because it's super big. But just go to the InfoSec Wizard like YouTube channel. It's under there under more links, but you can hop in there, join it, say hi, say hello. We'll welcome you, and again, ask questions. Cool. With that, we're gonna hop off. Thanks, Fitness. Thanks, Cody Parker. Thanks everyone else who has watched, and we'll see you next time here on the InfoSec Wizard stream. Later, everyone.